Hey guys, David here from Mindful Kung Fu on behalf of Sudakwon Academy. Today we're going to talk about posture. So important when it comes to moving and flowing qi through the body. We've talked a lot about different energy sources and how to move and expand that energy through the body, but it doesn't mean jack without good posture. So let's go take a look. Alright guys, when it comes to posture in martial arts, there's some really important things that we want to discuss, okay? We want to discuss where the top half is. I call this right here, and how this is moving and flowing, and then also how the lower half is, and then how they come together to create one. The yin, the yang, and then the wu ji, right? The wu ji is the one, it splits off into the two. Yeah, kind of fun terms here, and that's kind of what we want to look at. Let's look back here and take a look. So, from here, the most important thing is, where am I connecting? In your mind right now, I want you to think, where is it that I'm actually connecting? Ready? Raise your hand if you get it. Okay, I know you all got it. It's the ground. That's what we have in common. So we're going to start from the ground, not from the top, from the ground. So the most important thing is I need to be connected to the ground. Now, second thing is, don't tense any joints. So that means everything is relaxed. If you look at my arms right now, in order for me to lock that elbow, I have to lock it, don't I? I can just hang like this all day long, but I have to lock it. And there's an interesting thing about your knees. If for those of you that do lock your knees, you'll notice it's an intentional thing. Because I can stand here all day long with my knees loose and not locked and be completely fine. We just get habits of pushing up and locking those knees and locking those elbows. Most of the time, I have found we do this is because our mind drifts too far outside of our body into our hands on a regular basis. Instead of staying here in our center, we reach and our mind goes literally to the hand, or the hand leads the reach, and so forth and so on. We can go over that once again, a little more detail in another video. But for right now, we want to understand we got to keep our center and we have to connect to the ground. And we need to make sure the joints aren't locked. Including, yes, this joint too. You don't want to lock this joint. I see so much in horse stance. People sit and look like they're riding a Harley Davidson, right? So we have to be careful about this. This is not good posture for me, you can see. So the first thing we do is we connect to the feet. Now, from there, we have to understand that the upper body rests on top of the lower body. I'm going to say it one more time because that's incredibly important. The upper body rests on top of the lower body. So let's go to the upper body first for a second, okay? The first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the back of the head kind of sits up. This brings the chin down. A lot of times in our life we tend to go here because we're looking up or we're pushing our chest out for whatever reason. It's okay, but in martial arts, we want to make sure this chin goes down. In my mind, I always feel like I can feel the top of my head, which is back here and not front here. From here, we want to then move into the hips. Now the hips move this way, almost like turning and moving a bucket. Right? I've heard this said. I was a personal trainer for a while. This idea of pouring water out and then pulling it too far back. So it moves and rotates like this. Now, why does it do that? It makes perfect sense because it knows that in order to create balance, this has to move in order to balance the top half. So we were born with this incredible way of doing that through our hips. If I go too far like this, you can see I'm way too far forward. If I stick back here, right, this is not going to work either, right? Butts are not just a look at, guys, okay? There's a purpose that we have these hips too, okay? So from here, I want to find the perfect balance. When you find the perfect balance, you'll feel like you can just sit. And it will literally just feel, yeah, there it is, almost like you're hovering on air. It's the best way to explain it. It's not tense and it's not released, it's just kind of in the middle. And then here's the best part. This center here comes in. You see that? Let's show that again. It feels so amazing when you get this. The chin's down, the hips, feet are touched, the knees are relaxed, and now I move the hip here And then watch, this part comes down. See, again, it just comes down and it sits. And now here, I feel all my energy just right into the feet. If I come up here, I can feel the energy release, literally feel like I'm floating up. And as I turn here, I feel now that all my energy is going down, and I feel a very strong force pushing me in my feet there. And all it is physics. Go back to this physics idea again. We're just moving and manipulating our body into a place where it can flow. I'll say that again. The chi has to be able to flow. If you have a water hose, the best way to get water out is to have the hose straight so the water can flow. You start kinking it all over the place, right? Tearing it, putting it into and putting a bow into it, and all of a sudden the water gets kinked. And that's the same thing. Let's take a look and you'll see. Here's the first one. Can anyone see how it can get stuck here? Now it's not flowing. Second one is here. See, you can see also that it's not flowing. Or if I lock my knees and then go here, you can see, it's very obvious to see that this has to bend down, the feet have to be flat. Next one, hip, somewhere in the hip. Where's the hip work? As soon as I tuck the chin, I'll find the hip. If I have the chin like this, it's going to be a little different than the hip. See? So I tuck the chin slightly to raise up the top. And then now I can move the hip, and it just finds perfect. Once I find that hip, here, this is the money right here. This is what I call the connection between the two halves. If we call this heaven, and this earth, right, esoteric term, or if we call it our top half and our lower half, what connects it is here. That's it. It's really amazing how that works, because it just tilts those hips underneath, and now the body rounds forward slightly. And when it can round, we call this the bow body. It looks like a bow. Right? If I exaggerated, say it would look like this. One part coming in, the other part going over. Coming down and over. It looks like a bow. So we have to find this area to be able to pull or to create the bow. Now, if I step back here, you can see from the side, see I have this feeling. Hopefully you can see that. Wham! Going in that back leg. No matter what pressure is coming here, it's not going to go over. So if I exaggerate it once again, if I have it straight like this, how am I going to go into that foot? If my head's up like this, even worse. I'm just bending over more and more backwards. But here, look, first down, down, look at that. Right there, my knee bends slightly back here. This is why we keep our knee bent in our system versus straight. See? Slightly bend, because I want to feel pressure going down in my stance. Someone pushes here, they can push all day long, so it'll go right in the body, right into the foot. But as soon as I let this go, it'll bend me right back. Now we're going to take a look at it a little bit closer so you can really see the detail of how the body works here. Okay, I'm going to turn sideways. So you can see about from here. So what I want to show you is this idea of getting the hips where they need to be, and that bow idea of pulling the bow down. Okay, once again, pulling the bow down like this. Yeah, now even when I do that, I feel the energy sinking into my feet here. Boom, yeah, really much so. And now, even though we've been told our whole life to have these postures, my grandmaster always said we have two postures, one we walk around with and one that we fight in. But it is incredibly important that we, almost like a crunch, it really is kind of like a crunch here, as I pull the hips in slightly and then pull down at the same time to find and direct this energy into the feet. I could do this with two, I could do this with one foot, going in here like this. So it all depends. I can step back and do this and sit down here like this and really get underneath it so I can feel the energy going down, around, and in. If you look at the regular spine, you will see there's no energy that moves through there. The real posture is turning and allowing the energy to sit down. And right here, whack, I really could push those hips, wham, and really deliver some good power there. All right, guys, here's Andrew. He's with us on all the videos. Thank you again for coming out.
My pleasure.
He's going to hold the bag, and we're going to take a look at this. It's really, really cool how you set this posture. First you set the posture here to get the feel for it. Then later you put that foot back, you get into that stance, and now you set that posture here too. We're going to look at it. We talked about the bow body. We're going to talk about like we're creating a bow so we can pull an arrow back. The reason this is so important is because I can either think I'm just punching something, or I can allow the mechanism to release the punch. Very big difference there, right? It's almost like a catapult. You set the catapult back, all the pieces are there, then you release it, whack. And believe it or not, that's how our strikes are. Every strike has this feeling to it. That's why we call it fajin, a release of power, release of chi versus just a punch. Okay? So we're going to take a look at that a little bit here so you can see it. I'm going to really exaggerate it as I sit back, pull that bow back, pull the hand back. Notice that as I pull it back, this leg gets more and more powerful, just like I'm pulling that bow back there. I let this hand here because I'm going to use the slight push-pull mechanism here to make it go. Pull the mechanism back, and then just slight release. Yeah. And it just releases. Foot stays where it is, slight bend in the knee, sitting down, straight down, not thinking forward, and uprooting myself. Okay, once again, sit back, chin's down, posture's good, I feel that energy, pulling back in with that yin feel, and then I release it.
Nice.
Feel a little bit?
Feels good?
Yeah. That's why we have the bag.
Yeah,
right. This stuff is powerful, right? My grandmaster once told me we have powerful punches.
Yeah.
Right? We do. Yeah, it's not me, it's just the mechanism of how it all works. And anyone can do it as long as they train it and become mindful with it. Once again, pull. And then from here I sit, I feel that energy shifting down. And then I just breathe out slightly. Boom. And release. Yeah. One more time. And then the key is to be able to do it faster. Wow. Right now we kind of go into that idea, almost rebound. Same thing we talked about before. As we and then shoot it back out. Down, pull, breathe out. Back out. All right, guys, so we've seen the release. What's important in Tai Chi, when we do our Tai Chi moves, we have these same concepts as we release out. What we do is we put ourselves into a situation, that way when they push, it pushes in the ground and we can check the connection. If the connection is strong here, you can believe the connection is strong here, okay? And we're going to do the same thing here. I want to show you the difference. I'm just going to put my arm out here with just a slight ward-off type of feel here. He puts his hand on there like he's going to push, and he's pushing straight. Good, here. So from here now, what I'm doing is I'm going to keep the body like this as he pushes and continues with pressure and pressure and pressure. Yeah, I have a slight connection to the foot. I'm really starting to feel the shoulder a little bit. He's a big guy. If he pushes more, he's probably going to end up moving me over because of that lack of posture that we just talked about. Okay? But watch here. As I round into the leg here, do you feel the difference?
Yeah, I feel the difference.
See? And now here, I have the ability to stay strong. But as soon as I round down into this leg, the shaking's not me, I promise it's him.
Yeah.
And then I'm just kind of relaxed here, the hands are relaxed. And as he just pushes right into that ground. He can push all day long as I have this here. See? But as soon as I uproot to here, it goes right over like a sack of bricks. So it really shows you that idea of bending that bow. And then as I bend that bow, even one leg here, he's still going to have a hard time because the bow is bent. Make sense?
Makes sense. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.
You're
Yes.
welcome.